First is a global interstate system. Historically, the state has been forced to adapt a systematic dynamic of which globalization is the only host recent truth and the undeniable. The most complex the day challenge of globalization are commonly beyond the control of any state. And the second, state. State is a political unit that has authority over its own affairs. In other words, its borders are recognized by other countries. Political organization of society or the body politic are more narrowly the institution of government. The next is global governance in the 21st century. There is a series of specific factors behind the emergence of global governance. The first on the list must be declining power of nation states. The second factor is the fast flows of the sort of things that run into right, truth, and borders of nation states. And a second factor is the fast flows of all sorts of things that run in and often right through the borders of nation states. And the third is another set of issues that has led to calls for global governance involves horrendous even within nation state that states themselves either ferment and carry out or are unable to control. 2004. Next is effect of globalization governments. One of the key aspects of state sovereignty is the government. So the government is the group of the people who have ultimate authority to act on behalf of the state. Each state has its own right to self-determination and that other countries should not intervene in the affairs of the state unless there are extraordinary reason to do so. The next challenge to the government. Traditional challenge is lack of transparency, outdated and structure, legacy system, and compatibility. And the second is challenge for the nation identity movements, which is unique culture. And the third is global economics, which is political globalization. And the next is global social movement, which is debt relief trade. So the next is the relevance of the state amid globalization. So the state is a policy under the system of governance. It is a distinctive political community with its own set of rules and practices, and that is more or less separate from other communities. The next is the first element of the state is the permanent population. So the permanent population refers to the population that is linked to specific piece of territory on permanent basis. The population must be reasonable, stable. The territory is an administrative division, usually an area that under the jurisdiction of a state. So the third is geographical area subject to sovereignty, control, or jurisdiction of a state of other entity. So the government is the system of group of people governing an organized community, generally a state. It can also describe the leadership of the surnation organization. And next is the governing body of nation, state, or community. So rule territory according to the administrative law. Sovereignty is full right power of the governing body over itself without any interference from outside sources or the body. Is a politic concept that refers to dominant power or supreme authority. So the next is peace treaties and military alliances, the UN and NATO. So the global politics, etal relationship of countries and different governments and non-governmental um, organizations. United Nations is an intergovernment organization that aims to maintain international peace and security, develop friendly relation among the nation, achieve international cooperation, and be center for harmonizing the action of nation. And it is world largest and the most familiar international organization. The next is maintaining international peace and security. Become the central mission of the after the war. Up to this date, the AN is the major force in governing interstate relation Fitzer 2005. The main deliberative body, the General Assembly, provides a forum for member states to express their view and reach conferences. So, UNICAF UNICEF is a United Nations agency responsible for providing humanitarian and development aid to children worldwide. The agency is among the most widespread and recognizable social welfare organization is the world with a presence in 1992 countries territory. I know 192 countries and territories. Sorry. Its primary goals is to help children around the world. So the next is IPCC or Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Uh, so it's an intergovernmental body of the United Nations that is dedicated to providing the world with objective scientific information relevant to understanding the scientific basis in the rest of human-induced climate change, its natural politics, and the economics impact risk and the possible response option. The next is and also has international court justice, usually referred to as award courts. So, ICJ is one of the six principal organs of the United Nations. It is settled disputes between states in accordance with international law and gives advisory options on international legal issues. So, the settled accordance with international law, legal dispute submitted to it by state and to give advisory options on legal question referred to it by authorized United Nations organ and specific agency. So the next is ICC, International Criminal Court. The International Criminal Court is an intergovernmental organization and international tribunal that it in The Hague, Netherlands. It is the first and only permanent international court with um, jurisdiction to prosecute, prosecute, prosecute individuals for the international crimes of genocide crimes, agent humanitarian wars crime, and the crime of aggressions. to investigate and were warranted tries individual charged with the gravest crime of concern to the international community. So next is ITLOS, International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea, is an intergovernmental organization created by the mandate of the Third United Nations Conference on the Law of the Sea. It was established the United Nations Conventions of the Law of the Sea, signed at Montego and Jamaica in December 10, 1982, to adjudicate disputes arising out the interpretation and application conventions. So the next is Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. It is a department of the Secretariat of the United Nations that work to promote and protect the human rights that are guaranteed under international law and stipulated on the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948. Present the word promotion and protection of the full range the human rights and freedom set out in the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights. So the next is North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So also called the North Atlantic Alliance, is the intergovernmentally military alliance between 30 European and North American countries. The organization implements the North Atlantic Treaty that was signed on 4 April 1949. Aim in the guaranteeing freedom and security of its member through politic and military means. And the next is global citizenship. Citizenship is the status of person recognized under the custom or law of the sovereign state of local jurisdiction of the member of the belonging to the state. It is the associated with rights and globalization. Relationship between individual and states to which individual owes allegiance in a turn entitled to the petitions. Global citizens are the glue which binds local communities together and increasing globalized world in the vast world. Global citizens may be a new type of people that can travel within these various boundaries and somehow still make sense of the world. So the WSF or World Social Forum is an annual meeting of civil society organization first held in Brazil, which offer a self-conscious efforts to develop an alternative future through the championing of counter-hegemonic globalization. It is centered on addressing the lack of democracy, the economic politics affairs, fishing the PONA 2003. So that's all. Thank you. Good day, everyone. My name is Ria May Pimento. This is my presentation. It's all about the global interstate system. According to the disciplining hypothesis, globalization restrains governments by inducing increase by budgetary pressure. As a consequence, governments shift their expenditure in favor of transfer and subsidies and away from capital expenditure.